Welcome back to Callahan's Corner. Yes, a questions, answer them live right here on Facebook. Got a user submitted question by a long-term friend and industry expert. I actually definitely respect in the industry, Ted Glazier. So Ted opened a quick question here in the Service Autopilot Misfits group. We're going to open up, read the question, and break this down. What's up, Taylor Cannon? Yeah, feel free in the live here or the record if you'll drop some questions or comments in here if you have some questions. But Ted's question was, does anybody have a way to track sales by service by salesperson? Can this be done in SA? Example, a person has a dollar goal for the year for upsells. They can sell mulch, pruning, enhancement work. How do they keep track of individual transactions they sell to the client? How do you track if the job was sold versus when it was performed? So we can pay the commission on it. Mike Callahan, do you have a method for this? Yes, Ted, I do have a method for this. There's a couple different ways of tackling it. I'm going to go at this for time's sake. I've pre-built this template here after calling Ted on his cell just to make sure I had the right information. But the idea here is Ted's got a base person that he is dealing with for salary. And then there is a percentage. So I made up a percentage of 2.5 or 3% commission to show you how this goes in here. But the first thing you want to do is go into your report center. You're going to go over and grab an analysis. Just for time's sake with load speed, I've already done this. So you're going to go into your data tab. I would pull up estimates. First thing I'm looking at here at a bare minimum, there's some other things you may want to add in here, but I've got estimate date, estimate status, and the sales rep. So most importantly, we want to have the sales rep on the actual estimate set up because that's where that data is going to be pulling from. Next, we're going to go in once that loads, we're going to do an estimate client lead. We're going to get the client name and service address. Once again, we've already pulled out the sales rep, so we don't need that duplicate. We can look at different things as far as like type, commercial, residential, things like that. But as a bare minimum, these are the things I'm looking at here for Ted's question. Finally, I'm going to go to estimate line items. So this is going to pull up all the items on the estimate, and it's going to give us, based on the line item status, won or lost. We're going to want the rate and probably the total. Total probably will suffice for Ted's question, but I wanted to be thorough on this. Last thing here, if you open this up, I believe is going to be custom fields. That's probably not needed. One other thing, Ted, and everybody else watching this, I would look at this is I would almost probably, if I'm doing a sales commission, drive some of this data set towards a profitability budget versus actual to hold the estimator accountable for profitable jobs on the profitability of the job. Conversation for a different video, but I just want to put that out there. Traditionally, you're going to focus on your commission, in my opinion, on a gross profit. The above that, so you've got your income, labor, subcontractors, material, maybe a line item or two, depending on equipment, or fuel, depending on your accountant. But those are the big hitters. They're going to be in your COGS account. The estimator can control those. They can't really cover your fixed or general administrative costs below that. So just a side note, does not include in this video. Once we loaded that up, there's a couple things we want to do. So we want to go in here once we've got these up and line them up. Estimate status, I'm going to go in and group them. I'm also going to go into sales rep and group those as well. So that's going to get all your statuses of one and each one. So these two estimates here in this test account do not have an estimator or sales rep, but otherwise myself and Christine are the two salespeople over this week period. Obviously, some of this data is very fictitious, so take it for a grain of salt, but this is the math and how the actual report's going to work for you. I'm also probably going to go in and do an A to Z comparison. So you've got the earliest to latest date. And then as we go in, all the items here from green, red, and blue are natively in the data set we've taken. So your next step is we're going to go into formula. But what I'm going to recommend, especially if you've got a larger company like Ted over Summit, is I want to go in and create a filter for basically an estimate date range here. And I would, as you're building this report, only do it for 1 or 2 days at best, because the data, when it loads in, will literally lock it up and you will have the spinning wheel sitting there. So you don't want that. What I would also do once you've done that, I would filter down to the estimate status of 1. And then in this test account, I had a lot of estimates that were $0 for examples. So I did that just so the report looked clean. That shouldn't be the case. You'd want those all in there. So if something was billed out at a dollar value, you'd want to put probably some function in there and go in and say, hey, if the total with the format, we would go in and do cell colors and go in and say, hey, if the numerical value is 0 or less, make that red so it stands out. So those are the basic things I'd be throwing in there to make that work. And then finally, once we have those filters, the data should be small enough when we play with it so it loads and actually responds quick and doesn't time out. So first thing after I hit the filter to avoid the timeout of the thing is I'm going into formula. And the first one I'm doing is going in and building out a commission payout. So we're grabbing a formula in here. It's called absolute value. This is something we've been doing for years with this product called Logi. It's a third-party bolt-on to service Autopilot enterprise software. Very, very powerful, but you need to know some of these basic equations and case statements to make this work. A cheat sheet in the mindset of abundance, if you're going to build this yourself, hopefully I'm not talking too fast or rewind this, but absolute number, when you click that in there, gives you this number here. As you can see, where it says number, I put 0.025. So in this example, it's a 2.5% commission. Below it says 3 because I set the formatting a little bit different. But basically, it's going to be number and a percentage. So we would go in and hit add. And then once we've added that commission payout percentage of 2.5 or 3%, we're going to actually create a formula in there right here that's going to say our formula of commission payout times the estimate line item total. So we're multiplying the total times 3%, or basically 2.5%, and it gives us this number. And then we're going in and aggregating a sum, and that's going to sum it up per person. That's going to be the basics of this process. But if you have different payout commissions, so say if this was a 2.5% in there, we would want to go in and say, okay, this is a payout at 2.5%, and you could have different variables. So 2.5%, 3.5%, and based on different commission plans, you can multiply that out based on the actual sales rep. So that's how you would tackle that, Ted. Once we have that, I'm going to recommend that now that we have the data in there, we'd go into a filter and put a sliding date range. That's a date range, and then it would be a sliding date. And it would be probably last month's start to last month's end. And when we do that, we're not going to hit add, but we're actually going to replace. If we have 2 date ranges, that will lock up the report most likely forever. You'll never get it back. But in the beginning, we want to filter it down to a day or two so your data set is very small before we pile the data in. Otherwise, there's a good chance based on the size of Ted's company that will lock up for him. So that is how we're going to tackle that. Looks like SA may have just logged me out, but good news is that is how you tackle it for a sales commission report. As we're in there, the last thing that we would possibly want to do here, let me see if I can log in real quick, is under reports, report center. Once we have that report set up, Ted's also going to want the ability to delegate that to a person on his team. So if we went in and hit the little clock icon from and to, this would be our sales payout report. And a message, and we can set up the timing of it to going out, let's say at 4 a.m. on a weekly basis every Monday for the previous week. That way we can run our commission report and we have full transparency. Once we hit save or done, that'll be in there. We can swing back in and open this up and send a test one. There'll have to be another option here to send it once. So comments, questions, drop below. Callahan's Corner, US questions, answer them live right here on Facebook. Ted with a sales commission report. Want to say what's up to Baby Boss? Absolutely crushing it. We go way back, and Ted's also helping us out as a certified 7-figure coach for the Simple Growth Scout Group. So if you need some help around any of this or Service Autopilot related, sgscall.com to book a call with one of our team members.